Into I'm not gonna say no more. Y'all can get mad because I know some of y'all gonna get mad watching this video. I don't care. Like I said, two things can be true. Two things can be true. Hello, everybody. Let's get into an interesting video. I stumbled on this and it's an interesting conversation because I've seen this brung up before. And basically, this guy up here, he is a cop or a former cop. And he said that they looked at the data and saw that Black men use reproductive coercion to enslave Black women. Now, he didn't say this doesn't happen to other groups of women, but when he looked at the data and he provided some sources on the video that I'm going to show you, stating that a lot of Black men, he might hear them on the phone admitting to intentionally impregnating a Black woman to be tied to her, to not leave him. We've heard about this, when your career is going good and you're in college or you're making good money, men who are gold diggers, and I feel some type of way. I have to be honest, I don't know how I feel all the time when I hear about baby trapping. A lot of people will say Black men baby trap. I don't agree 100% before I show this video. I believe as a woman, you know how a baby is made. Every time you agree to open your legs up to a man, whether you're just smashing, he's your boyfriend, it's a hookup, friends with benefit, whatever it is, you already know that he has the baby batter, and they know it too. You have men who can't control themselves when he reaches that point. You have some who don't give a damn. Baby, you're the one. My mom always told me when I was little, you carry that baby for 9 months, not a man. So you better want that baby if you keep it, or he can walk out anytime. When you lay down with the man, you know that you can become pregnant. If he's a crappy dude, why are you giving him access? And we have been there. All women have been there regretting someone you might have slept with. It happens. But at the end of the day, when I hear about women saying, oh, he trapped her, this and that, she laid down with him. You open your legs up. You have a 50% chance of becoming pregnant. You know how babies are made. You were just as responsible as a man, and a lot of men do not care. It doesn't matter how much you want them to care, how much you want them to have empathy or understand a woman. It hasn't happened in history. Men want to use your body, use your vajayjay, have access to it. And if you get pregnant, a lot of times you get pregnant. Some feel they have power over you. Like, look, she's carrying my baby, a gut full of me, this and that. And yes, there are men who might try to get you pregnant if you are on the up and up, or you might leave him. To me, a man traps a woman through pregnancy if he pokes a hole in the condom, something like that. But if you decide to lay down with a man, you're not on birth control, and sometimes you don't want to be on birth control for a lot of different reasons. You know, as a woman, what can happen to you. Okay. And you know, if you see a guy, sometimes they give little hints they might try to get you pregnant. If you decide to keep sleeping with that man and you don't leave that man, this is something that can happen. Okay, I was looking through the comments and I'm going to show you some comments where I saw one woman say, oh, when I was 18 and having sex, I didn't even know what sperm was. Okay, so is that his fault? You decided to open your legs and your mother, or you didn't decide to look online or read a book about how a baby is made. Don't get me wrong, a number of us can be naive and innocent. Men don't care about any of that. They don't care. They know they have the baby batter. So it's really 50-50 chance when you lay down with them. Yes, we have needs and wants. Yes, maybe using the vibrator or the toy can get tiring, and you want a man with his deep voice and his muscles dominating you and on top of you. Yes, we're human, and we have, as women, we have those urges, but things like this can happen. And yes, there are some men who might want to stop you, baby trap you, who might want you tied to them forever. So it's up to you as a woman to take precautions to keep that from happening. And if you don't believe in abort, or adoption or something, then you will be stuck with a baby that you didn't want. These are things that happen. So let me be quiet. Let's see what he's saying. He says that Black men use reproductive coercion to enslave Black women, and there were Black people upset with him. because he's not black and he was saying something that so many black women have been saying for years that black men have done to them. Let's look at the video and then let's look at a few comments about this.
There's peer reviewed research about something that nobody in the black community wants you to talk about, and really nobody in any community just wants to hear, period. I've been a night shift cop for the past 8 years in one of the biggest cities in the United States, and I guess I'm speaking about this difficult topic because somebody has to do it. If you don't create a framework around certain social issues, then it's just really hard to identify them as a problem that needs solutions. Black men of a certain socioeconomic status are deliberately sabotaging contraception, refusing condoms, or intentionally impregnating black women to keep them from leaving. And data documents that this happens at more than double the rate reported in white relationships. 60% of black women reported their partners doing this to them. Only 24% of white women reported the same. It's the same study under the same conditions. The racial gap is not subtle and just should not be ignored. One woman in the study described her partner calling her from jail and telling her, "I tried to get you pregnant so you wouldn't leave me." This isn't speculation. These are documented experiences from real women. They also did a men's study where the researchers went and interviewed men directly. Young black men in Baltimore, 26% admitted that they've done this to a female partner. Some described it openly as dominance. One man told his partner he did this specifically to make clear he controlled whether or not she got pregnant. This is all called reproductive coercion, and it's a form of intimate partner violence. And it actually works. It's not just a behavior, it's a strategy. A longitudinal study followed black women ages 18 to 24 over 12 months and found that women experiencing reproductive coercion had measurably higher pregnancy rates within just 3 months. The coercion was producing the intended result. And unfortunately, from my perspective as a cop, here's where it gets worse because the law doesn't really help women in these situations. There's so much I can do about other forms of intimate partner violence. Almost everywhere in the United States, there's mandatory arrest policies, protection orders, all sorts of stuff. But coercing or tricking a woman into a unintended pregnancy, most of the time, it's just very difficult to legally defend women against this. The biggest problem here is that most women don't recognize this as a form of abuse, which is exactly why it just keeps happening over and over. And now these men who are forcing you to carry a baby use that pregnancy and the child as an excuse to have access to your body, to your housing, to your resources, but rarely do they ever provide anything in return. I can't really think of a solution, but at least if more young black girls become aware of this issue and can kind of point a finger at it, then maybe it becomes a pattern that they can avoid. Hate on me if you must, but this all had to be said. Be safe. So I posted a video where I spoke about how black males practice reproductive coercion on black females by, in one way or another, forcibly impregnating them as a method of control. And I received this comment where someone is saying that it's basically not my place to speak on this issue. I think it's a fair point that warrants a response. If not me, then who? My credibility is not cultural or based on the color of my skin. As a police officer, it's occupational and evidentiary. I'm not speaking as someone who belongs to that community. I'm speaking as someone who enters it multiple times every shift, every night, over and over again, dealing with the consequences of this behavior professionally, repeatedly, and in real time. If not me, then who? Think of me as a witness. Witnesses don't need to belong to a community to testify about what they've seen. I am the one who gets called into these homes, and I am the first-hand witness to the downstream consequences of this every single night. If not me, then who? I didn't even just come with my own experiences. I came with studies that were conducted by researchers, published in peer-reviewed journals, and the findings belong to anybody who is willing to look them up and read them. I did not generate the events, and I did not generate the data either. If not me, then who? Sometimes the message is a lot more important than the messenger. I think black women are supposed to be the carriers of culture, not the carriers of children that have been forced upon them. So yes, I think at great personal risk, I will continue to speak rather than be a silent devil. Be safe.
Okay, so that is what he had to say, and I definitely want to know, what do you think about that? And I want to be clear. I do believe that there are men, black men, who do intentionally try to impregnate women. Sometimes they call it stealthing, where he could you see him with the condom on, but if he like bends you over, next thing you know, he takes it off. Or if the lights are off, you don't know that he took it off. Things like that, it does happen, and I consider that to be a form of grape and baby trapping, and it does happen. But like I said before, you have to look, you can use a condom, but you know going in, and it's something you don't always think about at first, honestly, when your hormones are kicking in and everything. But when once we lay down with them, there is a 50% chance of a possible pregnancy. And I know sometimes you just want to be able to be with your man, if you know he's your boyfriend or whatever, and you just want to be able to enjoy him in that way. But these are things that can happen, and there are men who, again, we've seen it, women who are trying to become a doctor, a lawyer, getting promotions, getting a raise, men who target women because they have a good job and career and they want to be tied to them, men who get upset and think might want to ruin her life and, oh, get her stuck with a baby. There are crazy men out there like that. But again, we have to try to be as careful as we can be, as well as women. So I want to share with you some comments real quick. Just stuff that I saw under his comment section. Let's see. Yep, reproductive coercion is the kind of physical, mental, emotional, and financial abuse that keeps black women in the cycle of poverty. Y'all have to make a decision as black women. And the rates have been going down of being a single mother. You have to make a decision who you are going to allow to have access to even sleep with you. I mean, if the guy's a bummy dude, he's broke as I don't know what, or he has a terrible character, but you're letting him hit it, there's a 50% chance he'll be the father of your kids if you're sleeping with him. He said that he created, the man who made this video. He says, I created a voicemail box for people to share their story. If you want your voice to be heard, literally share it, okay? It will be anonymous at this link, and I will share it with the world. Okay, let me make this big. Seriously, if you want to tell your story to him, look, www.speakpipe, oh Lord, pipe, Lord, laying the pipe down, let's speak pipe. www.speakpipe.com for th pig. Okay, there it goes right there. You can go on the voice box, on his voice box, and tell your whole story without telling who you are, and he will share it with the world. Okay, so let's go to the next comment. Let's see. In the United States, 14.8% of non Hispanic Black women report experiencing reproductive coercion at some point in their lifetime. This is the primary finding from the CDC, National Intimate Partner of Sexual Violence Survey, which provides the most comprehensive national data on this topic. It says that recently Keith Lee, the guy who does the food reviews, he stated in an interview that it's his wife's decision whether they have more kids or not. The viral attacks on him and the hate he received from black men, it shows how they feel. How dare a woman be allowed autonomy over her own body and reproduction? Unfortunately, this harm is racially systemic and has way deeper roots and intentions to be explored. That the point is way more deeper. This is a great entry point into that. Okay. Don't have my glasses on. Give me a second. Holly Bailey. Oh my God. Again, I didn't say the name earlier, but this person is saying Holly Berry, Holly Bailey, not Holly Berry, the actress, the young actress from the Disney movies and stuff like that. The Little Mermaid, the Black Little Mermaid. I remember Black women saying they were terrified that she was pregnant with that man's baby. Yeah, the baby that she knew she wanted to keep, and she was not trapped by that man. Miss me with it. After he openly disrespected and abused her and embarrassed her, and she did not care what the public said and continued to open her legs to him and had that man's baby. She's rich. She could have had an abort if she wanted to. This is something that Black women have been saying for years, and now we have studies to prove it. Again, I do believe in reproductive coercion. I also believe that there are some of you out here who lack accountability and want to play victim every time you end up pregnant as if you don't know how babies are made. I'm sorry, I get pissed off about it. I get pissed off because the statistics are way too high with like 70 to 80% out of wedlock at this point. Some of y'all gonna have to miss me with it a little bit, okay? Especially when it comes to Holly Bailey. Everyone was saying that it would be a disaster, and she didn't give a damn. She kept sleeping with him and got pregnant, didn't get rid of the baby, and kept the baby, and is a happy mother, but she's a single mother like people predicted would happen, like all her peers and so many Black women. She's not a victim. Holly Bailey is not a victim. I don't care what anyone says on that, okay? Get mad at me if you want to. I'm not saying that this doesn't exist, okay? She had enough money to not even keep the baby if she didn't want to, but she wanted to keep that baby, and she knew she was pregnant. I'm not even gonna get into it. I'm not gonna say no more. Y'all can get mad because I know some of y'all gonna get mad watching this video. I don't care. Like I said, two things can be true. Two things can be true. This is an alarming post. What is coercion in the Black community is deemed as cultural or a religious practice in others. This woman was trying to defend it. Additionally, excuse me, y'all, I'm curious as to who asked you for your input on the Black experience. So this person is upset because a man who isn't Black is talking about this, a former police officer, and she's saying you're calling this reproductive coercion. This is actually cultural and a religious practice to Black people. No, it is not. I'm so tired of Black people like this. You do not speak for me. It's not my culture or my religious practice to have a man impregnate me with a baby I don't want. I don't know what you're talking about, lady, who said this to him, but she was so upset that he was a non-Black man saying this. Now the topic is fertility coercion tied to Black men and Black women. Instead of just throwing labels around, maybe we should ask deeper questions about what is actually happening and who benefits from these narratives. The F is going on, shaking my head. Y'all don't talk about no other group of people but us that and do statistics and comparisons for what. Y'all don't talk about no other race but our people. This is another person upset. He didn't say that it's not other groups of women. What he said is that they found the highest statistics of this happening to women to be Black women. Black women out here, there are some of them, they do not like their issues aired out. You can get mad all you want to. The statistics come out every single year, and we're always at the top or the bottom in a bad way, always on most of them. Is it a conspiracy? What about other groups? You don't hear about Indian women. You don't hear about, even though they probably throw them in with Asian, you don't hear about Arabs in America. It's always between Black and white, the statistics, and we're only 13% of the population, and we always have the most horrendous statistics. And it's not unreal, it's not untrue. I just don't think that some Black women want to face the truth that men within your so-called community are harming you the most when your health, femicide, DV, education, lack of marriage, out of wedlock babies, it's not made up. It's not made up. I think it's painful for some of you to see it. and you get offended when somebody not black also points it out, as if it takes the truth away. Is someone not black commenting on our statistics, does it take the statistics away? Does it make it less true? Why does it offend you? Does it mean that they're saying that their community doesn't have issues? Now, when I look at this man, I don't see a white man. This man looks half black to me. He could be Hispanic, he could be Arabic. I'm not quite sure what this man's racial background is, but he's definitely not a straight up European man. That I know by looking at him. Um, but at the end of the day, I mean, this is what he said. How do you feel about it? Do you feel offended because well, someone not black is talking about black men are enslaving black women through pregnancy and for through pregnancy basically? Is this a real thing? Have you experienced this? Have you been with a black man who said you need to have a baby? Because I've had this said to me by a black man, "Oh, you need to have a baby." And when he said that, I knew it was time for me to back away because I don't trust stuff like that. Men might try to poke holes in condoms or something. But have you had a black man try to baby trap you? Give us the details on how this happened, how he tried to intentionally ruin your life and make you pregnant. And is this a real thing? Is this something you've seen happen to you, your family members, your friends? And do you believe that no, it's not true? Black women are also responsible? Or do you feel a lot of black men are stealthing black women? They're poking holes in condoms, they're sneaking, taking it off in the nighttime, all types of stuff because of where you are with your career, finances, or all types of reasons just to be tied to you. Let us know in the comments section how you feel about this. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I will talk to you all later. You all take care. Bye.